talk about characters, right? We can talk of them as if they are just faces in a crowd. Right? Faces in a crowd. Where we don't need to describe what they look like. We don't need to describe who they are. We don't need to go into the personality, the backstory, what they did, what they're from, stuff like that, right? This is the crowd. But we also have the MC, the main character. Okay? The main character is a really important character. It's the person that is central to the story, right? And so this main character you might describe a lot. His backstory, his personality, okay? What else? What else would we describe about this person? Habits? What makes them tick?
Physical.
Physical appearance or looks. Okay, what else? We describe a lot, right? Because why do we want the person, why do we want the reader to know? Why do you guys think? Why do we want the reader to know about the MC? Anybody? Yes. Why do we want them to know about the MC?
Can I figure out this one?
Okay, let's use real life to relate this. When you walk down the street, when you go home from school, who do you see? No, when you're on the street, not at school.
People.
People. Do you know who they are? Do you know where they're from? Do you know their name? Do you know their personality? Can you make any inferences about who they are as a person? Do you care if they got hit by a car?
Yes.
Really?
Okay.
You care?
Some.
You are more traumatized about seeing it, less so than what they are, or who they are. Does that make sense? So what are we lacking? What is the lacking thing between strangers and people you know, like your friends or your family?
Do you feel empathy for them sometimes?
Empathy?
Their stories?
Their stories? Emotions. Emotions are required for us to feel an emotional connection to others. Yes? And in order to form emotions, we have to know about someone in order to empathize with them. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. So, we want who to feel emotions towards the MC. So, what do we have? What do you think? We want the readers to form an emotional connection to the character. This is most essential thing for storytelling, ever. If your reader does not form an emotional connection with the main character, your story will never be read. Do you understand that point? I'll give you guys an example. I have a lot of essays, right? Do you know the first line that I get in every essay? When I move to a new school, okay, why do I care? Yay, you moved to a new school, yay! Why do I care? Genuinely, why do I care? I don't know them. I don't know you. If I didn't know whose story it was, I wouldn't care, right? If someone just came up to you and says, when I went to a new school, do you want to sit there and talk to them? Probably like, how much time do I have? Can I walk away? Right? But if they walk up to you like, Soyi, I almost got hit by a bus. And Soyi's like, are you okay? What's the difference? Emotions. Why? Is it that we formed an emotional reaction to, an emotional connection to that story, whose story it was? No. But we feel emotion because we feel startled by something, right? This is called a hook. This is why hooks are really important. Do you guys know that? If you don't have a strong hook, the story doesn't get read because people get bored very easily. Remember, you guys know Instagram, right? You guys have Instagram? You guys use Reels or TikTok? Okay. If it's not an interesting reel, what do? Just swipe, 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 swipe. Same thing with your story. Swipe, flip, right? You need a strong hook, okay? Your hook gives the reader or the watcher an emotion. Fear, anxiety, pleasure, joy, happiness. Something has to occur like that. So here's an example. Who plays Valorant? Wow, that's a lot of people. Let me ask you. If you saw an Instagram reel that said, your Valorant skills are terrible. You're playing this character wrong. What do you guys think?
Not doing
Kinda.
Yes, that's exactly what you should be thinking, right? This is 5 ways to improve your skills. And you're like, oh, maybe I should watch this. I don't want to be bad. Right? This is called a good hook. Right? But this is used for social media, something that's very short form content. But the idea is you want to form emotions. Okay? If you don't form emotions, the character doesn't get developed. Okay?